My worst habits are eating sugar and wanking. I'll be dead honest. And throughout the last decade, I'm 22 now, I have had a tendency to be a little sugar wanker. But by the end of this video, you will have new, world-changing knowledge on a bad habit breaking system that, when applied correctly, will be something you'll be bloody kicking yourself about. But there is also a catch. There's always a catch, and we'll get to it, guys. But first of all, flash back to Black Ops 2 2013, and I was boosting, right? I don't know if you remember the cheating strategy where, you know, like you join a game with a friend and you shoot each other with tac insertions. Anyway, whilst on hijacks at 11 years old, I hear one of those "you're in big shit" shouts come from the other room. So I put down the controller, a little bit anxious and confused. 2 seconds, Daniel. We'll continue boosting in a moment. Right. But I walk out of my room, and across from me, I see him. My mum and my brother sitting on his bed with the iPad, and my mum looks steaming and my brother's pissing himself laughing. I immediately know what's going on. They found it. They found it. Oh, this is awful. I walk in. My mum's holding up some videos and saying, "What the fuck is this?" And my brother's still laughing. So I start crying. Looking back, this is actually a really fucking traumatic experience I was being faced with. And I hugged my mum and I apologised to her so much. And then I went back to boosting on Black Ops 2 with Daniel. Now, you'd think such a horrible, nasty, dirty experience would be an encouraging moment to stop watching bad content. No. And for the next 10 years, I did partake in consuming terrible stuff, I have to admit. And even in 2020, I properly discovered NoFap. You obviously know what NoFap is. And how did this impact me? Well, there was some success, but it did way more harm than good at the time. I came out the other end a little bit better off, I guess, but still wanking, you know what I mean? And yes, this genuinely made me miserable at points. Waking up obese, spunky pants. It's true. How the bloody hell do we fix this? Well, should I stop chatting shit? Yes, alright. Here is the system and all of its benefits. Around 2023, because I had still found nothing that helps me with bad habits. Fuck all, basically. I gave up ever clicking on YouTube videos about bad habits. But just a couple weeks ago, a video by a very handsome, beautiful man showed up on my YouTube suggested when I was doing nothing. And once again, it was a video, albeit by, a trained professional, that was claiming they knew the bloody secrets of breaking bad habits. But this time I decided to click, and it was a video by Dr. K. You might have heard of him. And here's what I learned and implemented that transformed things for me. See, monks, alright? That's why it's in the thumbnail. It's not some random shit. I want to ask you a question. What do you think new monks do to break their bad habits? Because they always end up doing it. Is it that they, go on a trip and have a whole ritual done? Is it that they go cold turkey? Does the environment change have an effect? I mean, maybe that last one does, but it's actually none of these technically. The monks do something incredibly counterintuitive. And what they do is they are actually just allowed to continue doing the bad habit. That's not the lesson. They can eat what they want, wank when they want, smoke when they want. But there's a twist. Every time they eat the sugar or choke the chicken, they must remain conscious of the behaviour before, during and after. They must feel every physical feeling and change of breath and random thoughts throughout the entire process. Because, check this out, a habit, what is it? Quite simply, it is a repeated behaviour that is unconscious. If we don't realise what we're doing or how we're feeling, we just continue to fall into the same patterns. You've obviously experienced this, mate. And Dr. K and the monks say that the way to break a bad habit is just to make it impossible by remaining conscious and aware every time you do the behaviour. Now, this doesn't mean we just continue wanking and nothing changes other than the fact we're now being mindful of it. It's actually deeper than that. Because I'm sure one of the main fixes to bad habits you've heard throughout your life is to use willpower, which is a really fucking lazy bit of advice. Just use willpower. It works for everyone. But again, what is willpower? Dr. K and the monks both say that willpower, the word, can simply just be replaced by the word awareness. All willpower actually is your brain staying aware of the behaviour. And this is where my mind was blown. It is 100% true, allegedly, that willpower is a muscle. So theoretically, metaphysically, all that shit, you could guess that you can train it to the point that it's very rare you do a habit. And this is true. And the way we train our willpower / awareness, is to not give up the bad behaviors. You live life as normal, there's no pressure, but as soon as that cycle begins of feeling an urge or whatever, you constantly start to ask yourself how you feel, what's going on with your breath, what is your body trying to make you do, how does my mind react to this lovely woman? And over time, remaining aware of your habits as they happen grows your willpower, and it acts kind of like upgrading your Wi-Fi. The connection between your willpower and monkey brain is so strong because you remain aware all the time that one day you just look at the naughty website, the sugary food, the video games. You can look through it and feel all the feelings, but your brain is still logically plugged in, and it ends up saying, I'm just not going to do this. And fellas, this is exactly what happened with me. Until I stopped. Oh god, this is what I mean. Sticking to it is very hard. The day I started practicing this, and for like 2-something weeks after this, I ate clean because instead of unconsciously going to the fridge, I started paying attention to the way I felt. And it's even more powerful with naughty websites because there were a couple occasions where I did go on the website anyway. But what was amazing, I was so aware when I was looking at it that very quickly I just decided, well, I'm not going to do this. But this really works. Really works. But obviously I made the mistake of when I did quote unquote feel fatigued and had one day where I wasn't staying aware. I never got back on the wagon, and that's my fault. But that's nothing against the system. Every time I do this, immediately and powerfully, it feels effortless to give up my worst habits because, say it with me, it can't be a habit if you're aware of what you're doing. So, how do we try this monk method ourselves? Actionable step, and I'm going to do it as well, alright? So I'm not just being a lazy fuck. Next time you feel an urge for your bad habit, just sit there and question it, wherever you are. What am I feeling? How am I breathing? What is my monkey brain thinking? This is a really uncomfortable thing the first time round, but it works. Alright, I love you, fella.